That's great. So we have a superlative class that we're working with here for our recruiting programs, and we wanted to take advantage of that and introduce all of the agents. Unfortunately, one is not available tonight. She had a conflict, but we have had 4 taking our training program, which is our fast track training. This is class number 5, and the star of class number 5 is none other than Gino Pronos. Gino's here. Say hello, Gino.
Hello, everybody.
And Gino is actually going to be the guy that's going to start things off tonight, because he's going to give us the ideas of what we're going to be doing this evening, and really kind of recapping a few of the things that we've done. So very briefly, Gino, why don't you say hello? And then we're going to be distributing this to all of our agents. We currently have approximately 70 agents in the company, so that they will at least know you if you haven't met them. They'll have an opportunity to hear your story too. Gino?
First of all, I have absolutely positively no idea what we're going to be talking about. We're going to all learn on the fly. And I kind of think that's the whole beauty of the situation. Mm-hmm. Right? Especially when it comes to social media stuff, putting out content, which is I always have a big emphasis on. So every time you talk to me, I'll be pushing you to like do any kind of Instagram or Facebook marketing, any kind of digital marketing. And usually one of the biggest hangups for people is they know their stuff, they could easily present information at a high level, but they're always point that little black box in their direction and they freeze up. Mm-hmm. Right? It's always the funniest thing in the world. So I figured the less that we prepare, the better. Mm-hmm. So that we're not trying to think, we're not trying to prepare.
That's great. It's a great idea, because we're not prepared, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's it. So
no script.
No. Yeah, it's unscripted. So Gino, 1 minute background of what you've been doing of late, both with your sales career, because you are a licensee, and also on the social media launch for the company.
Like I said, I've been putting a really big emphasis on digital marketing. And George was always the one anchoring me down with more traditional stuff, with more face-to-face stuff, which still works, but use whatever word you like, maybe new age, more modern tactics, whatever, but I always put a big emphasis on social, because I just think there's a lot of opportunity there. The internet as a whole, there's many, many different platforms, many tools you could use. They're built on the internet, and they can all be very valuable assets for your business. So that's kind of what I'm trying to add to the whole pro as a whole, to basically get everyone online. Individually for the agents, also from the company side. So far, little by little, we're building.
It's a process, correct?
Yeah. If I got George online, I get anybody online.
Good.
That I'm sure. So overall, like the point of this, George already kind of touched on it, is mostly to have everybody share a short story. Which I'm like 5th grade. Mm-hmm. Stand in front of the class, give your story quickly. And if you do something else outside of real estate, if you come from a different background, maybe touch on how that road mapped here into real estate, and why you wanted to get your license, how it's going so far. Everybody here has varying degrees of experience. Mm-hmm. So I think put that all in the middle in a conversation like this, I think interesting things can come out of it. And if nothing else, the other agents who are already here and the other people that work here will get to know you guys a little bit, which is valuable. So. Great.
So let's get it started, and we'll start right to my left. So let's start with Deb Montanez. Just as an aside, I've known Deb for many, many years, and we go back with common connections, both in the neighborhood and some other opportunities that I've been involved in at the high school level, in participating with some of the things that we've been focused on in the past on the high school level was just local stuff in the local grade schools. So let's talk, Deb, and give us an idea as to, I know it's been your lifelong thought of getting into the real estate business. Yeah. At least we talked about that. So give us a little bit of background about how you got here tonight. I know we're in, as we mentioned, in session number 5 right now. So thanks for attending all of the other sessions, and give us a little bit of personal history.
Sure. It took me a while to get here, even though I've been wanting to do it for a while. I just really enjoy like anything with people. I'm really good at customer service. I work at a high school.
Right,
Obviously,
that was that's our connection,
yes.
right?
And I love working with the parents and the students, and I just felt like right now is the right time for me to get my real estate license and start my career. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get people in their houses and look at different houses, and I'm just starting. So my head right now is going to explode from how much information I have inside of it. I went to 2 training classes for the last 2 days, and I don't know how to process everything I've learned, especially like the social media part. They said how important it was. They were giving statistics on like the millennials, like the average realtor's age versus the people buying now, and it's all social media is the way to go. So I think I would like to learn a little bit more about the social media part as well. I mean, yeah, we all know how to do Facebook and Snapchat, but as a business, I think there's so much opportunity to get yourself out there.
They're just tools like anything else. It's the same as if you go knock on 100 doors, or go hand out flyers. It's just one tactic. It's a tool. And I think one good place to start is that we have to all erase this notion that only millennials and young people are on social media. If you're 13, 30, 93, in between, you're on social media. So that's one thing people have to rewire about themselves.
I think that individuals kind of convince themselves because they hear about that all the time. But I don't know if they know the reality of it, right?
That's true.
And you're in the business of knowing the reality.
Yeah. I mean, just look at yourselves. Were you on social media today in any capacity?
Yeah, like 17 times.
Okay. So is everybody that you knew.
Yeah,
that you know.
exactly.
So imagine if you were like putting out content around real estate, and here, on day one, you're a new agent, right? You said.
Yes.
So I mean, your value today probably isn't going to be about teaching people about the intricacies of real estate, right? That makes sense because you're still new, and that's okay. But you can reach out to people and say, hey, everybody, I know I'm trying the same thing, very excited about it. I'm in real estate now. I'd love to help you out.
Right.
Still valuable to people. And as you grow, as you get better, as you gain experience, then you can transition more into teaching people about it more in depth. So what I'm always trying to tell George is that in today's information age, you can get like your ABCs and your facts from anybody, right? But what people really want is to hear from human beings. So we want to hear the story that you're telling. People want to hear about, see your day-to-day life. Okay, you're full of it just like they are. Sometimes you fail just like they do. Okay, you're not polished. You're not like this real estate character.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was easier to get away with that stuff because not every second of his life was documented, but now it is. So you might as well just tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
Just makes your life easier, and people are going to appreciate it more.
Sure. I was going to toss in one idea to my many meetings that I have with clients. Of course, there's a dual conversation that's going on if you approach things the right way. So if it's all about, well, let me tell you who I am in the process, then sometimes it gets lost because I think many individuals want to tell you about themselves too, just like we have a conversation here.
Absolutely.
So when I went in yesterday, I was out on an appointment and we had a nice conversation. I met a couple, senior couple, and they had very interesting life stories, and I really went through really the entire program with them, from trips to Korea and the military and all different trips, and found out really a little bit about them because, and as I explained to them, the more that I know about my clients, the better job I can do in serving them. So if you have a doctor's appointment and you go in and the doctor says, "Oh, well, let me prescribe something to you 35 seconds into the conversation," that's not really going to be. It may be accurate, but it's probably not going to be as well received as if you gather all of that information. And if you gather it all, then that's going to put you head and shoulders above the competition that really goes in and sometimes doesn't do the client, the information that they should have, and they don't take the right care of the client. At least that's my opinion, and it's kind of worked for me over the years. So, Greg, we're going to flip over to you. Now, you're an experienced guy. You've been in the business and had your license for
about 15 years
for about 15 years, which is good, and you've had a good sales track record yourself over the years and done varying careers. So give us a little bit of an idea of where you're at and what you've seen.
Well, in the 90s, I was a buyer for Mayfair Lumber at Lawrence and Cicero, an old lumber yard.
Okay.
And I was a millwork buyer, and I started real estate part-time. I was interested in it, and I had done well enough then to take it over full-time. And I did that in the neighborhood office, and things went well. I really enjoyed building relationships with people. And, that also, you're running your own business, and it's kind of up to your own efforts and decisions, which I enjoyed about the business, And my wife also said, "Oh, you find people houses. That's a nice thing,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how I look at it, And we had some happy clients, so it's kind of rewarding as well, and they keep in touch with you also. They remember you. After I had taken a sales position, I was offered about 2008 for about 8 or 9 years, and I retired from that. I came back into real estate, and I found that people I had prior to that, I called them, and they said hello before I said who I was. So it was a good feeling.
Right.
So
Good. That's a great testament to your professionalism in the past, and you're connecting with the client.
I hope so.
You remember them, and they remember you. So that's always a.
And I had known George from my past career, and then I met him a few times when my son was looking for a home last fall on some of your listings in Elmwood Park, and then here I am. So
Good.
it's nice.
And welcome aboard.
Well, thank
on that
you.
one. We're glad to have you in as part of the program, and
Thanks.
hopefully we're all learning together.
Yes.
And that's why we have the master leading us tonight, Gino, who's taking us down that road, so we can all enhance the skills that we already have developed.
So where my mind goes when I listen to that is you're the only one here today who has previously worked somewhere else, right? This is your first real estate company? Yeah, mine too. So I'm curious to know what happened to make you feel like this was a good fit or it was worth changing.
Well, I was in a larger office with 160 agents at one location, and there wasn't much hands-on connection with the other agents or the broker. I mean, certainly you could speak to them, broker manager, if you wish to, but this is close to my home, and I feel more. This is closer to the situation I had my first success with the office that I was at before. For the first 10 years I was doing it, so I feel a lot more at home here, more comfortable.
You're someone who appreciates more of boutique feel.
Yeah, where it's exactly, instead of just there's more of a seems like not a responsibility, more of an awareness to the neighborhood and where you're at, and a feeling toward the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we have another new agent here with us also, about 30 days approximately.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, around 30 days. That's Damian Tabor, and Damian is going to give us a little bit of the background of how he got to the table tonight.
So I still work for a distributor of Coca-Cola, and actually met one of the agents that works for the branch at one of my accounts who, spoke with real estate. And prior to me even knowing that she was in real estate herself, I've always had an interest with properties, and I always knew that I wanted to own real estate myself. My sister was a real estate or a director of marketing for a real estate company for over 10 years. So I'd always gone to functions with her, different ball games and such, and was around that energy, all those just kind of events, and it always came down to just networking and being around people. And in the job that I currently do, I would say I'm a huge people's person. That's why I left my previous job, which was a desk job, to be more in the field and more in sales and around people and creating relationships. So I felt like I finally found myself as a person, figured out my strengths and kind of what works for me. And knowing that real estate, again, you have to be accountable, but also realistic with yourself, right? Because there's no one holding your hand, and you're only going to be as successful as you want to be in this business. And that's kind of what I do on the Coke side right now. So I knew that if I could thrive in a, billion-dollar industry, I could kind of translate that into real estate and create my own business. And when I spoke with Lori, one of the agents, she referred me to George. Spoke very highly of George and the branch itself. And one of the big things for me as a new person in real estate, I've gone through my own transaction when I purchased my home, but going through the paperwork and understanding some of the nuances in real estate, it kind of eased me into the process, knowing that George and the team do such a great job kind of explaining everything, walking you through, and always being available to kind of help you along the way. So that's kind of how I ended up here.
What I'm hearing everybody say is that people still matter, right? Like being face-to-face people still matter. And a lot of people who are coming up now who are born with phones in their hands, practically. One argument is that they're getting less and less face-to-face attention, which is hurting them. So knowing that, and knowing that this stuff could be used as valuable tools for your business, what are some ways that we think we could merge the two? Like we can leverage the tools while still not just sitting in the corner in the dark behind our phone all day and actually get in front of people. What do you guys think about that?
Well, are you saying like what can we do personally to?
Yeah, anyone who's trying to use this stuff to brand themselves or to gain clients or something like that. What are some ways you guys think you could leverage anything, anything on the internet, any social media platform, any website? Maybe you guys do it already. I don't know. Is this something? I don't know if it's something you guys think about, but because obviously the end goal is to get in front of somebody. It's not just to do the whole transaction behind your phone, never having talked to them, right? So, what are some ways that you guys maybe already do it or think that you could leverage this stuff? I guess is my question.
I had a couple ideas that I was thinking of working on, like do maybe a YouTube video. Is it kind of what you are getting at?
Yeah, that's one perfect example.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I guess we have to just get a little bit creative. I'm so anxious to get out there and talk. I'm still a face-to-face person. I know once I get to you and I can talk to you, and I guess you have to be sincere and mean it, and I think we're all in this business because we are sincere and we do like people. But you're right. Other ways. Sorry, I got a little off track. Other ways. I was thinking of doing a YouTube video, and then I don't know if this is a thing, but I was kind of thinking. For my other job, I do recruiting in another country, and I can't see everybody that I want to see all the time, and all the parents that I want to see all the time. So what I did is I made flash drives with my video on it, and I handed out to the agents for them to hand out to the families, and they can go home and they can watch my video about my school. So I thought it's kind of would be cool. I don't know how cost effective it is, but that's something that I was kind of thinking we could do too. I was thinking of doing.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
It's nice that we have the ability to create these things in-house, and that's why Gino is such an integral part of the team, that we can come up with an idea, and he's had the experience of probably doing it at some point along the way. And if he hasn't, then he can learn it very, very quickly. He's on top of it. So that's a big credit to his benefits that he brings to the company along the way. What do you think, Damien?
One of my ideas was just creating or hosting some kind of event. Other than social media, obviously, I think Facebook and Instagram, those are two platforms that I would use with just small videos. I mean, for myself, someone who is new to the industry, and all my fan base or friends, they don't really know that I'm in real estate, or it hasn't spread out. You know, the close friends do, but not, the high school, college basketball teammates. Some of the guys that live overseas, and so forth. So I think those would be almost like an instant ideas for myself, something that I wanted to talk to you, but I know we're going to have this session, so I figure I'll wait. But one of the things that I would like to do, and being a golfer, like that's so stuck to me, is doing a golf outing, and creating it for non-golfers, anyone, just to raise awareness for the brand itself. But again, just having people talk, because at the end of the day, I think word of mouth is what's going to spread, quicker than anything else.
I think that, if it's open houses or passing out flyers before the open houses, or getting contact on Instagram or Facebook posts, I think overall it's just another avenue to, you're just trying to make a friend.
Yeah.
That's it. And not a personal friend, but someone who enjoys seeing or talking to you, and then perhaps learns that you're in the business. And then, then maybe a business relationship might proceed from that. But I think it's pretty much all we're trying to do when we see people.
Yeah, it's all supposed to lead to the same place, more or less, but they're all just different ways to do it.
Paths to take.
So I think it's important to note that because nobody can do everything.
Sure.
No one could be on every platform at once, reasonably. Okay, especially when you're just at the beginning. People just don't have the resources or the time. So I think it's important to understand what you're actually good at, and then leverage the platforms that help emphasize those skills. For example, some people cannot shoot a video to save their life. They just freeze up. They just can't do it no matter what. Take the video camera away. It's A+ material. But maybe they're really good writers, and they benefit more from doing like a blog or LinkedIn articles all the time, or whatever, just anything in written form. Maybe you're someone who just has a big personality and you want to just sit there for 2 hours and you want to talk, have a conversation. Maybe a podcast is a good idea, right? So again, it just depends. There is no right answer for everybody. I think that's important to understand at the beginning too, because there's thousands of things that you could do. So I think it's important that people don't feel like they have to be everywhere. Stick to just what you're good at, leverage that, expand from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I don't belong on video. I mean, like, I'm ugly as sin, I've got a horrible voice, I don't belong on video. But maybe I would do better in audio format, or, if I was just doing more written word. But at the same time, I don't care. People, I don't care what people think I look like. So maybe I can do video. See what I'm saying? But some people get so hung up on these things that don't matter.
Right.
Right?
Well, I think that's one of the biggest things, is that if we really care about every single no, or about what every person thinks, I mean, you're never going to be successful, because you're going to get hung up on the idea like, oh my God, this person hates me. I did this. I think if you know that this is what I set my goal to, is like, okay, this is going to be my avenue. I don't care how many no's I'm going to get. Eventually you redefine or refine your craft, and refine your ideas and your processes, and the way you just create, your marketing, and those yeses are going to come. But so I think right now, to your point with the younger generations, which I fall into. Some people make a post and then they take it down because they didn't get enough likes.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Well, then you gradually post that then. So I think if we just stick to what we feel is right, for our brand, what we feel is right for our customers and for our clients, then I think success is going to come.
And even if you get no's, just be kind. I mean, it's always nice to be kind,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh,
what
yeah.
counts,
Burn bridges for sure.
Yeah, I mean, be sincere about it too.
I think whatever vehicle you choose along the way, consistency is the key.
Yeah.
If you try something one or two times, as you said there, Damien, and then, it doesn't work, then it's usually not going to be, usually things don't work after one or two times. One of the old things in the advertising was that they don't even recognize your name until you're out there with a minimum of 7 to 12 impressions on it. So they have to see it and hear it 7 different times. So whether it's door to door things which are from the past, or direct mail, or whatever the vehicle happens to be, the newer vehicles under social media, you probably are competing for time, because individuals only have a X amount of minutes per day to be able to dedicate to it. Some have way more on it, some have way less, but ultimately with a consistent program that you have to develop that's based on your own personality and your own skills, as Gino pointed out, I think you're going to be the best served, to do that. And that's the process for me individually. If I can get face to face, with a client, it's good. And I try to distinguish my position, with that client in explaining to them that, hey, if you met with another real estate agent, did they give you all of this information? And I explain to them that we do a 2-step approach, and I explain to them that I invest way more time than most up front. So I make sure that I ask those proper questions along the way, and I can find out what your needs are, and then we can diagnose exactly what we need to do. And I think that in my experience, if I go the other route and I'm communicating mostly online with individuals, my hit ratios are dramatically lower than if I can get to have a personal meeting with them. And therefore, I'm always stressing, and I do a lot of referral work also, so there's a lot of cold calling that's involved in that. It's a preferred cold call because I get their information and I follow up. And it's the same thing, 50% of the people you can't make contact with even though they asked you to call them. So it's a little frustrating, but if you really understand the numbers, on it, it's a good way to come up with a game plan and then just stick with that game plan. Gino, seems like that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Everything works. That's the bottom line. George, you're much better served to be face to face with somebody. You're the most polished, precise presenter I've ever met in my life. Okay, I can't imagine you sitting down with the seller and then, saying no. How could they? Your information was A+, your presentation's A+, everything A+ about it.
That's nice to say, and I appreciate that. However, I think part of it goes into your ability in sales is to try to make sure that the client that you're talking to is on the same page as you are. So if I happen to be going in a certain direction and it worked for 6 different clients in the past, and I'm evaluating that client, I'm always going to be asking them those important questions up front. Tell me your story. What's important to you? What are the things that distinguish our company from that, compared to the other real estate agents that you might have met along the way? What did you like? What did you not like? And then now you can effectively have a good base to be able to talk about. What did you not like is a better question, because now you should be able to handle that objection and answer how you can do it better. If you can't do it better, now you got a challenge. But if you can do it better, then you should earn the business down the road. At least that's been my experience.
And you're really genuine, George is a sincere guy. He's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that again, but I think all of you guys that are in the business, you can all be just as sincere and just as genuine, and it really comes from 2 things. It's the product knowledge itself, so once you absorb and you understand what you're talking about, and then just always being honest. Integrity is a very important thing, and as I tell individuals, I have them and they come back to me and they say, hey, George, about 5 years you told me this about this. And I said, oh boy, I must have given you some good information. And they say, yeah. And then if they ask me the same question, I say, you're probably going to get the same answer. Although things may have changed in that time frame, if you handle your approach and if you approach everything in a similar way and deliver the information honestly, then your opinion typically is not going to change that dramatically over the career that you have in real estate. If you have to start contriving things or coming up with ideas that that are not necessarily sincere, and you think you're going to get the business that way, it usually doesn't work out. Usually the client will see through it. So again, it comes back to selling yourself, being your own person, and everybody that's out there is going to have that opportunity, to do that. And what we're trying to do with our social media is to give you opportunities for more contacts. So again, it's just getting the word out a little bit more, and you might be out there and somebody connects to you, Damien, or somebody connects to Greg, or somebody connects to Deb, and somebody connects to Gino, and whatever the case is, it's that connection down the road, I think, that's going to carry you guys as you go.
Yeah, there's something for everyone.
Absolutely. Gino, final thoughts?
Usually just kind of nailed it, George, but I guess the bottom line is that people, all you're trying to do if you're leveraging social media or the internet at all, any kind of digital marketing, is you're kind of trying to accomplish what George was talking about, but more at scale. Because a big part of the initial process is you're trying to make somebody like you, or you're trying to sell yourself, just like you said. By producing content on a regular basis, you can basically do the same thing with a lot of people at once. You can make them like you, make them fall in love with you, make them connect with you. They'll get used to hearing your voice, they'll get used to seeing your face, and they'll get used to your mannerisms. They'll learn about you on a personal level, perhaps, if you choose to share that. Maybe they'll learn about your family, and they'll start to like you, the person. And then when the time comes for them to want or need real estate services, you've already done all the hard work. They already like you. So now, when you go in for the ask, or maybe they'll ask you, all the hard work is done, and now you can go right into just giving them what they need. And you don't have to worry about them maybe saying, well, we're going to go with somebody else, or we're going to keep interviewing people, because they've already taken the time to, quote unquote, interview you over time, because they've gotten to know you. That's the whole point of the interview process. They know, okay, if you have half a brain, you know that most realtors that you sit in front of, they're going to know their stuff. They're going to be able to sell the house, okay? But that's not enough for people. They want to actually work with someone that they like.
Right.
So that's one big benefit of, branding yourself online. I think you can make someone fall in love with you.
And it's like that's my story, right? Like when I recruit, like there's hundreds of schools there, and I'll say, I'd like to go last. I think I told you this already, George, because we all have the same exact curriculum, clubs, blah, blah, blah. And so when I get to the end, I'm like, well, we have everything that they have, but this is what I can give you, So I like to interview my parents and students that I recruited, and I'll always say, so why'd you choose our school? Like, everybody has the same thing. Why our school? And they'll say, we loved you. My grandma loves you. My mom trusts you because I'm coming from another country, and that's basically the same thing, it's the same thing.
Good. Exactly. Well, thanks again to Gino for your efforts in putting this production tonight. Thanks to our stars for the evening, and that's not only Gino Ponos, we have Damien Tabor and Greg Gunderson and Deb Montanez participating, and yours truly, George Rista. Good to see all of you guys out there, and hopefully, we continue to have a great year selling.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was cool.
Yeah.